beginner crafter. Welcome to another WIPTube, but also the first WIPMAS that I'm going to make in December. It is just after midnight on the 1st of December, and I am recording it this early or late, but mainly it's early because I will have days like tomorrow or the day after tomorrow when I will only be able to stitch in the evenings, and for me to stitch during the day, later be able to record the video, upload it to my laptop, edit and post, I wouldn't be able to fit it in one day. So I hope this will give me the time this one day more to post every day during WIPMAS. I know that I will have to finish early because I will be leaving for Christmas at my family, at my parents' house, and there aren't really any possibilities to record there. So that's also going to make it possibly one extra day longer, just because it's going to be a day later. So that's the plan, and I hope it will work. This is the first WIPMAS I'm doing and the first time I'm going to post so often, so I hope it works and I can post my everyday progress and that there will be progress every day. Let's hope. I have so many whips that I actually should. So first let's go with the WIPTube and what I did in November to see the whole progress of different projects, and then we're going to talk about what my plan for December is, especially for the Vlogmas part of December. And let's start with my crochet project, the only crochet project I have, which is the Mochila bag. And this is how giant it is. Yeah, this is what I have, and I am at around 34. So I did get to level 1 goal for the year. My level 2 goal is 50 rounds, and I think I should be able to make it in December, because if there aren't too many sick teachers, I will have my free periods when I will be able to stitch, and also after, well, during Christmas break, after the school part of December ends, I will take it home again, and I will have a lot of time to stitch on it, and hopefully level 2 will be finished. I don't think I will finish the whole Mochila bag in 1 month, because I don't really remember how many rounds there are in the pattern. I think about 60, but it's not entirely sure for me because the end is like text. It's not row by row, where I know that there's well, I don't know now. I think there's 40, and because I'm on that page, and then I don't know if there is up to 60 and then the text, or the text starts just after 40. I really don't remember the pattern that much, so I don't remember, but I really don't think I will be able to finish it this year. But considering how giant it is, it's still good progress that I've made, and it will be very useful to then be my project bag for a different knitting projects, especially if I want to go with them or just hide them for some time, so that it's safe and doesn't get dusty, because it might happen. Then my cross stitching. I think most people that I subscribe to, and also the YouTube algorithm shows me, are floss tubers, and they create flossmas. So I think this is mostly what fits into that category. So the first one is going to be Miranda, and I'm going to show you first what it's going to look like when it's finished, and then what it looked like at the end of this of October, just so you can see the difference, although it's difficult to show the difference because it's so big. And I only stitched 650 stitches on Miranda, and I think it was mostly the dark part. Here in this area, and also some of her dress and body. I have already achieved my level 3 goals for the year, so even though Miranda was my focus piece for the year, it actually hasn't been since October, I think, because I knew I would be able to finish my level 3 goal, so I decided to work a bit more, like spend more time on stitching other projects. That's why Miranda didn't get as much done. I have stitched almost 125,000 stitches on Miranda, and I am at 56.71%, so really nice progress. I'm really happy with what's happened with Miranda this year. I will stitch on it in December as well, just to have every stitch helps with finishing it in general, but it's not going to be the most important piece in December, and you'll see that during the Vlogmas portion of the video. So Miranda goes to its place. Okay, now the fairy. I haven't touched the fairy for the last few years, but finally, after rejoining my office, and you can see part of the office now, I found the beads and the thread together. I have them in one place now, so now I can stitch. I'm not sure if you're going to see those beads because they're really tiny, so I don't know, and I don't even know how to show you because of the light, and you would think the light would help with seeing stuff. I guess, yeah, you can see them sort of here. There are those beads. I haven't done too much of it because it's horrible to work with. The thread is super thin. I did not think this type of thread is so thin. Maybe there were more to choose from, and I chose the thinnest one because I wasn't sure how big of a hole I have in the canvas, so what would fit, but it's terribly thin, terribly fiddly because of that, and because it's transparent, it's super difficult to see. And like I said, most of the days I can stitch only in the evenings, and it's not good, not easy to see it in the artificial light after a whole day of work. So it's going slowly. I was hoping to reach level 1 goal in November, but I still have quite a lot of one color of beads to stitch on, and then there is the other color as well. I think there are fewer beads of the other color, but still there is quite a lot. So I'm super happy that I'm making progress on the fairy finally after such a long time, but I did hope it would go faster. So yeah, that's the problem with the fairy. Those beads, actually the beads themselves are not such a problem, but the thread is like I said, very thin, very fiddly. And because of that, I also have trouble with my beading needle because I need to open it very wide to be sure I'm putting the thread through. And that's why the needle is already very wonky, and it's quite soft and malleable, so it's not super straight anymore, and it gets a bit more difficult. And also it doesn't close as well anymore, so the thread, being so thin, sometimes just sort of runs away from the eye of the needle. So like I said, not going as fast as I was hoping, but progress is progress, and I'm super happy about that because the fairy was really a whip that has been without any movement for really a long time, and that wasn't making me happy. Then a new start, the Peppermint Purple Stitch Along for 2025. Like last year, I'm starting this year's Stitch Along super late, so not too happy about that. However, I did predict that, and my goals for 2025 weren't very ambitious, so I'm already on level 1 because level 1 was start gridding, and I have. And I still need to grid at least this square here so that I can start filling, because this is week 1. I mean, I don't have to now stitch chronologically because I think I should have all the fillers by now because they should be already posted. Peppermint Purple decided to post December fillers in November so that everybody has the time to finish things before Christmas. So they should already be there, and I probably have them, but I just started gridding, like I said, so I only have this much. But again, progress is progress, so I'm happy. Then Avarice, and I'm going to show you first what it's going to look like when it's finished, and also what it looked like last time. I showed it to you, which I think was actually at the end of, no, it was at the end of September, because I did not work on Avarice in October. I usually switch Avarice and Envy because they are from the same series, the 7 Deadly Sins. So I switched them month to month, not to get bored with them, because they are huge and they often have a lot of areas of the same color, not the same shade, but color, but also they are full of confetti at some point, which makes things annoying. So I'm switching them around. Also, Avarice is going to be my focus piece next year, and I don't really want to work on it too much in December, so that I have a break from it before I start working on it a lot next year. So with Avarice, still it felt like my focus piece this month. I stitched 2,744 stitches, and I'm at 21.46%, which means I reach level 1 goal, although that happened in September. But because I stitched over 20%, I am cleaning threads. So what I have left are mostly those 2 pages. All the rest are either all of them like cleaned up, or I can't stitch them anywhere else for now because I would have to count too much, or because they finished somewhere here, for example, and I need to use them somewhere here, so I just park them so that they are here ready to go later on. So I didn't really focus on any particular area this month. I was just stitching, cleaning up the threads. There is a chance for me to reach level 2 goal with Avarice. I would need to finish more or less this page here. So I think I am going to stitch a little bit on Avarice, especially in the first part of the month, just to first clean the threads, the part threads, but also to see if there's a possibility to reach this level 2 goal. Level 3 is absolutely unattainable. It's to get to 25%, and I'm at 21.46. I won't be able to stitch over 3% of this huge piece in 1 month, especially if it's not the month where I actually should work on it. So just level 1 goal for this year, maybe level 2. We'll see about that. But at least there's level 1. that's always some positive. And then when I get to stitch on it next year, when it's my focus piece, there won't be so many park threads, so there won't be as many knots, which is a very, very good thing. Then my Extraordinary Birds stitch along. Here's what it's going to look like when finished, because the whole picture is already there. And here's what it looked like last month. This month I stitched on Extraordinary Birds 2009 stitches, so also quite a lot. I'm at 76.91% of everything. Because I was stitching it like up to feature 4, up to feature 9, up to the end. And from feature 4 and feature 9, the only color that's left for me to stitch is white. So I decided not to. So I hope, because I have about 3, maybe 4,000 to stitch, which sounds like a lot because I stitched 2,000 this month. So we'll see how it works, but I hope to finish it this year, maybe without Blackwork, but the cross stitching part, I hope to finish it this year. And I want to wait with white for as long as I can, but it's going to mean that I reach all the levels in 1 month, or at least 2 levels, because actually I checked, there is no white in features from 5 to 9, so in that level 2 only part. So all the stitches that I put for level 4, they also count for, like, not for feature up to feature 4, so for level 1, they also count exactly for level 2. So basically, if I achieve level 1, it's already level 2 as well. So there's going to be huge progress on Extraordinary Birds next time. I think I stitched at least a stitch on every bird right now, although I think there is a small bird. Where would that be? here, I think, where I've got this area here, but not really the bird. And no, this is going to be a huge bird, so this area that is so empty, it's going to get filled. So I think every bird now has at least one stitch in it. And there are some threads that I finished for the whole piece. So that's also a milestone that I reached, that it's there are some threads, there are some colors I'm not going to use anymore. With Avarice, I also reached a milestone. I forgot to tell you. With Avarice, I stitched more than 50,000 stitches, which is great. There's still a lot to go, but 50,000 is a nice round number. And I'm super glad I managed to get through that. Because it's just such a large piece. And I'm going to stitch 7 of them, hopefully, in my lifetime. I think that's it for the cross stitch. So now Sashiko. There it is. I have possibly 3/4 of it stitched. Like the thicker white, the whiter white is what I stitched, and then those sort of not as white, not as thick lines. This is what is yet to be stitched. So I think with Sashiko, I'm also going to just get to level 1 goal, because I'm only going to be able to finish this one piece. My level 2 goal is start the second project, so it's not much between finishing project 1 and starting project 2. So maybe level 2 as well, but I'm mainly focusing on finishing this. I don't have far to go, but to be honest, after working on the first one last year, I was hoping it would go much faster than what's happening this time around. I started Sashiko in July, I think at the end of July, before going on a trip to Paris. And this was what I was working on in Paris, although I didn't really work too much on it because Paris and the trip. But I was hoping it would go faster. But somehow I'm not too fond of this design, even though it's pretty. But not as fun to work on like the previous one. So we'll see what happens with the next one, the next pattern. Then my knitting. So first my Pohjola sweater, which is a pretty new project. When did I start the Pohjola sweater? I did not write it down. Oh, that's not good. But I worked on it since July. It looks like it. Huh. I did not expect to work so long on Pohjola. Well, okay. That's weird. But in November, I did make huge progress on it, because in October, I reached my level 1 goal, which was to start the chart. The chart starts with the white. And now I'm on round 45, I think, of the chart. And there are 75 rounds on the chart. So really great progress. My level 2 goal is to finish the body, so I'm not really sure I'll be able to make it, because after the chart there's also some regular knitting involved, so I'm not sure. I'm loving Loving, loving, loving. There are some areas where I'm not happy. There are some rounds which are super annoying, and these are the rounds with long floats. I hate catching floats. I absolutely hate it. But yeah, it's safer to catch them than to make them float for long areas. And I love the pattern. I love the pattern. And funny thing is, when I work on the piece, I don't really see the pattern. I just, you know, knit whatever color they tell me to, and I don't notice how it works together. And only after knitting a few rounds, when I can have a look at what I stitched for like a bit more, from a bit more distance, then I can see it like, oh wow. I don't know if this sweater fits me. I mean, I think it does, but because it's a bottom up sweater and I don't have like super long needles, I won't go through this part. I did sort of try it like stretching on myself, and it looks good, but I mean, at some point I will have to either put on a lifeline or lengthen the whatever this is that connects the needles. I don't remember what the name is, to try and put it on myself, whether it will go through my hips. It should. I just don't know if it does. Mainly because when I started stitching and I chose the size, I was thinner, and I have put on weight, and I usually put on weight in my hips area, so it may not fit. However, the goal for the new year is to get back on a diet and lose weight again, so it should work fine before I finish it, because it's going to be still a long time before I finish this this sweater. And it's a Pohjola sweater by Jenna Kostet, and I stitched it from a book, it's somewhere there, knitted Kalevala, so it's based on or inspired by the Finnish Kalevala stories. Then the sweater from another Finnish designer. This time it's the Wishbone Sweater. And with Wishbone Sweater, I'm super close to finishing it. Yay! I only need the hem. So I finished my level 2 goal because I've done the body and I've done the sleeves, which was faster, sooner than what I wanted. So now I only need to knit the body and I'm done. And I'm going to knit the hem. I have this much of one of the balls that I bought, and I have another ball of yarn for it. So I'm going to stitch this hem for as long as I can. It might be longer than the hem that Kutova designed, but I just want to use up the thread for as long as I can, and I prefer longer sweaters, and this one I did lengthen it by one pattern pattern repeat to make it longer already, because it felt like a cropped type of sweater, which I don't like. I prefer the longer one, just getting into a tunic basically. So it's longer, and I hope to make it as long as possible, because I prefer longer. Definitely I prefer longer sweaters. And my last project is also a new start. I started it yesterday and it's the Forresten socks. This is my reward, my prize for taking part in Inge's from Inge's Knitting Lab make along or knit along for the lacy cable tee. So I got the pattern and the yarn for the socks. So I've started the sock. It's tiny. I mean, it looks tiny, but when I was doing the gauge swatch, it looks like I need huge, because the pattern calls for 2.5mm needles. I used those. It was super huge. The swatch was huge. Then I switched to 2mm needles, and I was also like above what I was supposed to knit. Like the stitches, the stitches, the number of stitches that was given was 34, and it was much bigger than 10 centimeters, even on 2mm needles. And I don't think there are smaller needles, and even if there are, I wouldn't be able to stitch. These are super thin for me. I'm not used to stitching on such thin needles. I wanted to try my C-knit needles because I bought them, and the only ones I have for 2mm needles are those short ones, and I hate working on short ones. I'm so stressed I'm going to break them, because these are especially like thin and feel very delicate. So I'm using needles that I had from like a set from Amazon, because even if I break them, they are not as costly. But I hope I'm not going to break them. So I'm on round 8 now. So I'm still making the toe, and they are toe up. And that's the first time I'm making socks toe up. Well, it is my second sock in my life, so not that I have stitched another technique many times. I already have a mistake. I made the stitch, the increase, the wrong way. I don't care. At this point, I don't care. It's so tiny that the hole is also very, very tiny, so I don't really care. So even though it looks super tiny, there is a chance my sock is going to end up huge, because apparently I knit in such a way that is huge. It's mostly because I'm really not used to working with such thin yarn, and knitting in general. I'm not yet super proficient, so it is what it is. It's going. The socks are going to be huge, which isn't really going to be a problem for me. I do prefer snug socks. However, I don't mind larger socks. For example, to put on to sleep in winter time, because then they are supposed to keep me warm, and they don't need to be snug, so that's great. And I think that's it. I don't have any more projects that I've worked on. So now to WIPMAS. The idea for December, because I basically don't have a main project, a focus piece, because like I said, Miranda is not finished, but the goals have been reached, so I don't have to focus on Miranda anymore. So my idea was to put all the projects that I worry might not get finished, that are not yet finished, but also have big possibility not being finished if I don't make myself work on them, to put them on a wheel and every day spin the wheel to know which project will be my focus piece for the day. The way I tend to work, because of how quickly I get bored with stuff, and if I work too long on something, it's going to look like a chore and not fun. So I have a main piece, like I had with Miranda. So this would be the first project I would work during the day. And if it's cross stitch, I tend to work in 100 stitch sort of parts. It doesn't have to be exactly 100 stitches, it can be a little bit more, because I use Pattern Keeper and I work in a grid, 10 by 10 grid, and then I select all the stitches I've worked in a given color and then make all of them as knitted. No, not knitted, cross-stitched. So sometimes I go over 100. And then I switch to a different project. And if it's a cross-stitch project, then again it's 100 stitches. If it's a crochet or knitted project, it's usually a row or a round. If it's a bit longer or a bit more difficult, then it's going to be a pattern repeat, or if, for example, when I was working on Bloom Between the Lines and it had 2 rows and then you switch the color, I felt safer to stitch a row finishing one color and a row with the second color, so that I know which how to work in which color to take on, because on a given side there's only going to be one thread, so then it would be two rows. If it's a shiko or beading for the fairy, for example, it's going to be some kind of arbitrarily decided part of what I'm going to work, and then I'm going to come back to my main piece, for example with Miranda, another 100 stitches, and then I move to another project. So usually during the day I stitch a lot of times, or work on a lot of times on my main project, and only a little bit on other projects because I also switch them. And if it's a bad day and I only have time for one project, it's usually the main project. So this is how I work. And for Vlogmas, I want the sort of wheel make the decision for me what on a given day is going to be my main project. And I won't remind it if it gets repeated. I mean, it will have to be repeated because I have so many projects to fill over 20 days of Vlogmas, but I did set it on fair, which according to the app says that it will try to avoid selecting the same thing twice in a row, so that would get me some kind of change done. And then after Vlogmas finishes, I will work on whatever didn't get worked enough in my mind. There is a chance that some projects will get kicked out of the wheel because I will actually reach all the goals that I have for the year. For example, with Wishbone Sweater, that I will finish it and there's nothing else to do on it, then it will get kicked from the wheel. But if there is something that I feel like I still need to work on it because it didn't get enough work done, then after Vlogmas I will work. It will become sort of my main piece. So I have the spin the wheel app and I turned it off. Okay, so That's the wheel. So the things that I have on here are how many stitches. This is my project I've been working on again for over half a year. How many stitches I can stitch from one skein of thread if I don't have to like cut in weird areas because of the pattern, just sort of to see the maximum stitches you can get out of a skein. Then the fairy envy, which is going to be, instead of Avarice, the 7 Deadly Sins piece for the month. If for some reason I manage to finish my level 3 goal for envy, then I will switch it to Avarice, but I don't think it'll happen. Then I've got Extraordinary Birds Stitch Along. This is the Pohjola sweater, the Wishbone Sweater, the Blackwork 2025 Stitch Along, and my UFOs, the unfinished projects that I have been finishing for the last few years again. So my Christmas bubble, Easter egg, Crochet Society projects, those type of things. I really need to force myself to make them. So let's see what I'll be working on today, although it's going to be about 19 hours from now, something like that. So let's spin. And the winner is, sorry, but I can't see that, the fairy. Okay, not the best day for the fairy, to be honest, because I'm going to start really late. So yeah, not the best day for this project to be my focus piece, because it's going to be terribly difficult to see. Maybe I'll manage to squeeze a bit of the fairy between working at school and then going to private lessons. But the reality is I will mostly have the time to work on it after I come back. And I'll come back from the lesson. No, actually it's going to be closer to 9 o'clock. So about 20 hours from now. So, and I'm going to have like 3 hours of stitching, but to be honest, well, yeah, no, I'm going to have 3 hours of stitching, more or less, 3 hours of working on projects. So hopefully the fairy will get stitched on at least twice, like 2 parts of fairy, and then some other project also will get some love to it. Thank you for watching. Oh, I would also like to thank Jen from Jen's Stitchy Corner, because she was doing a full coverage November, and she spun her wheel every day, and it sort of inspired me to do it this Vlogmas or WIPMAS. It's not going to be Vlogmas really, or Flossmas. So thank you, Jen, for inspiring me to do that. I really liked her videos in November, and she has a lot of great full coverage stitches, and I admire the resilience, I would say, to stitch on so many full coverage, and it's huge full coverage stitches, and she even begun some this month, so it's not like she's just finishing like I am, at least at the moment. So thank you, Jen, for the inspiration. Let me know if you like this type of videos when you see me and I sort of put my projects to the camera like that. I am going to do it like that definitely during Vlogmas or WIPMAS, but I'm not sure if it's going to stay like that. Now that I have my sort of office, I can, if it works, but we'll see. So if you like the video, please click the thumbs up. It really helps. Leave a comment down below if you have anything to say. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and you want to see the progress of all my WIPs. Thank you for watching and hopefully see you next time. Bye!